Hey everyone, Echo here. Today I'm going to be giving you a gold guide on what I believe is the most underrated farming area in classic World of Warcraft, and why I believe that, and some alternatives that you can farm as well. Now that the intro is out of the way, let's get into the video. Alright, so if you don't know where we are, we're actually in the top left hand corner of Felwood at a satyr camp. Now I'm going to give you some pros and cons on this particular area and why it's such a great area to farm. Alright, first on our list would be the mobs have very little health, very little armor. So they're very easy to kill, and on top of that we'll add the next one, density of the packs. They are very dense. Your mobs per hour can really rack up here. Now here's some other reasons drop wise. These mobs can drop corrupted soul shards if you complete the quest. They're used for Whipper Root, which is a form of a health pot, the Sunflower, which gives you a crit buff, amazing buff by the way, and the Night Dragon, which is sort of like a mana / health pot for the casters. These mobs drop a ton of greens, which is good for the of the shadow or of the healing, which is great for warlocks because warlocks are going to be using a lot of the shadow gear leveling up and even at max level during phase 1. For all those enchanters out there striving and wanting to push their enchants to the best. If you have herbalism in the local area, there is plenty of Plague Bloom and Dreamfoil. So for all those alchemists and herbalists out there, this is a great place to go get that Plague Bloom and Dreamfoil for your flasks or your pots. So another great place just for that while you're grinding. Same thing for the miners. They get True Silver and small thorium veins. And for the tailors out there, there is plenty of cloth. Mage Weave and Rune Cloth. I personally use the Rune Cloth for bandages and just put the Mage Weave on the auction house. But if you're a tailor, it is a great place to start leveling up your tailoring once you get to that kind of annoying area of Mage Weave, instead of having to go to like somewhere like Tarnaris and grind ogres. Also, it has a lot of fell cloth out here. Now on the private server I'm at, it's 2 gold per fell cloth. So a stack of it can really rank you in some great gold. Now, another reason to be here that's not just for crazy gear is demonic runes, which is amazing for those raiders out there that like to come prepared and have those demonic runes so they don't run out of mana. But downside is you have to convert life into mana, sort of like a life tap for a warlock. Warlocks are not going to really need to use this, but things like priests or hunters, mages, they would love to use these, and it's a great place to farm them. Now let's talk about some of the world drops that can happen. Now these are just some examples of what can usually drop off these kind of mobs. And those examples are the Stockades Pauldrons, which is a really great pre-BIS tanking shoulder, just hands down great. It has a chance of dropping off these kind of mobs. Another one would be the Freezing Band, which that goes for about 600 to 700 gold, up to 1,000 gold on the server that I'm currently on. It's best in slot for frost mages, period. That's it. Best in slot. And you have a chance of getting stuff like the travel backpack. Now, right next to this place, if you want to kind of chill out on the whole I'm gonna grind fest, well, right next to it is a great place to fish, just right across the road in the center of the water, and that's where you can get yourself some raw nightfin snapper. This will end up turning into the nightfin soup, which is a great NP5 food for the auction house or for just your raid in general. So this is the first spot and the pros. Now let's get into some of the cons of this area. Okay, so now that we covered up the whole entirety of the pros, so let's talk about some of the cons. Right off the bat, it is way better for Horde than it is for Alliance. Horde have vendors close by where Alliance have to go really out of their way in order to vendor. Now that takes a lot of time out of your farming potential because having to run back to a different zone or anything like that will cost you a lot of time in your farming methods. Some of these mobs are also casters, so doing that AoE farm with a mage, it's going to make things just a little bit more difficult. On top of that, if you're in a group and you decide to duo this, one of you can be MC'd and you can end up killing your partner that you're duoing with. So that's another potential downside. So being MC'd just sucks. Yeah, I mean, there's been times where I've been MC'd with a caster and I just one-shot them with a mortal strike. Sucks. It really does. So that is another con. Mobs have Curse of Tongues. So if you're a caster, you have a chance of having that Curse of Tongues effect on you, making your casts a lot slower, reducing the cast time, and obviously reducing the time it would take to kill the mob, which in turn makes the farming process just a little bit longer. If you don't have an interrupt, this also makes it semi-difficult because they are casters unless you have a form of resistance of some sort. Because remember, resistance matters in vanilla. All that damage is going to go straight to you and it hurts. And they do fireballs and rain of fire. So if you don't have any form of interrupt or stun, it can get a little annoying and you could take quite a bit of damage from these mobs. I would say one of the final cons are the fact that if people are trying to get the Corrupted Soul Shard quest done, you're going to run into some PvP. You're going to run into other players and you're going to have fights. I mean, not everybody's going to be like, oh, I'm just going to wave at you. No, honor matters to get your PvP trinket and stuff like that. So it's crucial that you know what you're doing when it comes to PvP and this farming area, because I ran into plenty of horde that I had to fight, kill for the resources around me. So let me give you a quick overview of this farming area and my ending thoughts to this area as well, and what it means to me on a more personal level. All right, let's do that. All right, so for my closing thoughts and my ending thoughts on this particular zone, let's go through it. I think this zone is better for horde. Just all around better for farming in this area, specifically this area, just because you have a town right next to you that you can vendor. Alright, so what about the classes? Well, the best classes for this would be a warrior or rogue, but that cancels out the Curse of Tongues, but it's only good if you have bandages or a healer with you. Druids and hunters and paladins as well. Druids because they can shapeshift in and out of forms, and Curse of Tongues and stuff like that won't bother them, and they have an endless supply of mana if they're in cat form. Hunters because their pet will be taking most of the damage, and for paladins because they get that extra attack exorcism versus demons. So it's an extra attack that they get to use, so great place for paladins as well. Only downside is, if you're a healer and you need to heal yourself and you have Curse of Tongues, you have a chance of dying to not get that cast off. Only downsides really. There is a lot of good items that come from this area. As I stated before, of the healing and Shadow Wrath, they're really good. Really good. So there is a lot of items for professions when it comes down to the herbalism for the alchemy or the mining for engineering or the blacksmithing. So that is also really good. And tailors, definitely tailors, because there's a lot of cloth here. There's the fell cloth, mage weave, and rune cloth. Great all around for professions, great all around items. And like I said, you can get a lot of good epics from here, Freezing Band being one of them, and Stockade Pauldrons, and many, many more. If you go to a camp south, which I will have a map up here, there's demons down there that can also drop one of the best in slot, and I mean that, best in slot gloves, which is the Edge Masters. Great for Fury Warriors, and that alone will also just pay for your mount right off the bat. Nothing's better than that until, like, I think Naxxramas. So that's just a thing right there. If you're really into world PvP, it's a great place to PvP. All around, if you want to just be a a-hole and start attacking everybody around you, you can do that. If you are just farming resources and you see that opposing faction there, you can attack them to help you get your rank up, get your PvP trinket. All those things, come into play as you're farming this area. It's also a great source of income and for pots, whether it be just normal health pots, mana pots, whipper root, which is a health pot basically, a night dragon flower, which is the mana equivalent, song flower for the crit buff, and just endless farming for some classes like the warlock, paladin, and druid. They could just go nonstop without not have to worry about mana ever. So those are my closing thoughts. I hope you enjoyed the video. I put a lot of time and effort into it. I hope you enjoy it, you learn something, all that great stuff. If you like this content, let me know what other farming areas you want me to take a look at. If there's a certain zone that you are going to spend a lot of time in, maybe I can cover a good farming area for that specific zone. Class guides, I can put them all out. It doesn't matter. Just you let me know in the comments down below what you want to see next. Make sure to hit that subscribe button and hit that bell so you can get notified when the next time my video goes live. Follow me on Twitch at twitch.tv/EchoTGS. Now, you guys have a wonderful day. Peace out, and I will see you in Classic WoW. Peace.